Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for watching this morning. I've got Pat Jones and Todd Gildersleeve.
Yes, sir.
In studio from Portland Marine. You go to Portland Marine, you pick out a bow mount, and he installs it. If he screws it up, you go to see him. I'm kidding. First things first, it's great to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you.
It's been a while.
Yep.
You,
as well.
I've spent way too much time with you in the last year, but there's a reason for that. Right? Yeah. When you get a new boat, or if you have a boat that you already own, there's a lot of things that you want to have on there, right? And it's literally endless these days. I mean, when you're talking about a brand new boat, and then you got the extras that you have to put on there that you really have to have, and that's going to be electronics, right? That could go from $2 or $3 grand to 20 grand in 5 minutes, especially if you talk with Todd, okay? Because you're going to find out how many different items that there are. But one of, if not the top of the list that people want to have on their new boats or old boats or boats that they just want to upgrade is a bow mount trolling motor. Mm-hmm. How often do you guys get this question? And how often are you actually installing bow mounts on people's boats?
So we're getting the phone call daily.
Daily?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we always, I would say any given time, we're doing 1 or 2 in the shop a week.
Well, every time I go in there, you've got
Yeah.
bow mounts laying all along that are trying to get situated as far as all the stuff that goes with each one for each boat. I mean, this always seems like that's what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a process. You know, when you're getting started, you know, we're going to ask a lot of questions about the type of boat that you have and how you want to use it. But in general, there's just a couple models or styles that you would get for our Northwest aluminum boats. Because I would say 90% of the people that are buying them are fishing for salmon and fishing on the Columbia, Buoy 10, ocean even. We're doing a lot of installs on bigger boats even that you use out in the ocean. So, and so the first question that we always ask is, what type of boat? Is it a forward helm, forward steering wheel, or is it an open sled? And because most of the people on the windshield boats don't necessarily want to go out on the bow and put it in the water and then come back through the bow. And if they're using it out in rough water in the ocean or Buoy 10, you know, it may be rough and they don't want to go out there for that reason as well. So the auto deploy unit that Minn Kota makes, both in the Instinct and Ulterra. The Instinct is their saltwater brushless motor version that came out, what, 2 years ago, I think? And that's been one of the most popular. And then for the open sleds and some of the forward helms, the manual deploys, people just want to get away from the extra mechanics of an auto deploy, less things to go wrong with.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. There was a reputation that they would just break, and they very well would. But they've made that upgrade. They've made that change for that particular Instinct that you're talking about.
Yeah, and the Ulterra is their older version. They still build it. It's primarily in their freshwater line now. And so we're not selling as many of those. It's still a good unit. A lot of what was happening with that was power related and not necessarily the motor itself.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so it was just choosing the wrong battery, not understanding how lithium batteries work was a big deal.
Sure, so, well, of course. I mean, for us over here, this is relatively still new for us, right? And if you go down south or you go down to a number of different places on the other side of the Mississippi, none of this is new. They've been doing this for 30 plus years. I mean, that's where all this stuff really kind of came from, bass fishing primarily. And we've adapted it, of course, to what we do in the Northwest. So that's kind of that track to how we end up to where we are. You mentioned lithium. We're going to get to that when we talk with Todd. But when you're asking those questions to the folks that are coming in, you know, say that they've got a windshield boat, you know, what are some of the things that you have to really make a decision on? Is it only length of shaft, or is it manufactured product? What is it that?
There's a lot. There's the next step is, how do they want it mounted up on the bow of the boat? Do they still want to have their anchor up there, and have the Minn Kota offset from that, which is much easier on an open sled than it is a forward helm, because you only have so much length before the windshield, and you don't necessarily want your Minn Kota hanging outside the footprint of the boat, especially if you're coming into docks and that's the first thing.
Yeah, there's nothing but bad comes from that.
So we determine, there's a lot of common boats that we do a lot of in the like North River and Willie line and Weldcraft and some of our boat lines as well. And so we kind of know, having done so many of them on those very common boats, what works best.
Sure.
As far as shaft length goes and so forth. You know, when you determine the shaft length, you know, I think if you're over 30-inch side height, that you're going to want at least 72-inch, and then it could be as much as 87-inch, even on your boat, which is barely 30. I think 30-inch is what your boat is, and you say that yours still comes out of the water even though it's 72-inch.
Yeah, but that's in the perfect situation, right? When you're coming up a roll, you got a bow that's coming at you, it will come up. At least at the time, my Garmin unit, the Kraken that I run, 72 was the longest that was available, at least at that time, and it's more than functional. There are certain times where it pops up. I'd like to have a little longer, but it's not absolute. Now, with some other versions, and even the Kraken now has a longer version available, this hasn't been a huge issue for me. But in the end, these are the questions that they'll ask you. Of course, you're going to be the one interested in purchasing that motor. But there's a way right now. This is the time of year, of course, we're going into Christmas time. You got Black Friday sales that come up. There are big national chain stores out there that will do Black Friday deals on bow mounts. And you end up with a bow mount, and you saved yourself a little bit of dough, but then what do? Right? But you've got a way that you can kind of get around that and have it installed the right way, or am I getting that wrong?
No, we are. We're kind of trying to beat some of the big box retailers right now a little bit ahead of the Black Friday deals. So during the month of November through Black Friday, we're doing 5% off on the electric trolling motors. And that is with Garmin and Minn Kota and Lowrance. Lowrance has a new one out as well called the Recon. And we've done all three. They all have slightly different features, but and we can dial it into, you know, let's say you have Lowrance equipment on your boat, you're very familiar with it, then you might choose the Lowrance Recon or the Simrad version of it, which is the same unit.
Sure.
And then you know, if you have Minn Kota and you want to do some route planning with it, contour following, they do speak with their head units better if you stay brand to brand, but it's not 100% that you have to do that.
Right, you just have to go with the NEMAs and you know, kind of change things up a little bit to get one unit to talk to a different.
Yeah, and some of them have built-in transducers, so that's an option on some of them, and you know, so. And then there's the different mounting situations that might favor one over the other as well, just because of the footprint of the unit.
So I know you've seen this. Somebody they go to a big box store, they buy the Garmin or the Minn Kota or whatever the heck it might be. They bring you a big box and go, here. Go ahead. Just throw this on for me real quick. I'll be back tomorrow to pick it up. Make sure it's cheap. You know, I figure, what, 2 or 3 hours for the install and move on. Because most of the folks' opinion that I've ever talked to about that exact situation, they think it's relatively just get it mounted, throw some power to it, and you're good to go. Well, the reality of that is you need this guy, okay? There's literally no way around that. We just went through this, okay, for about a 3-week, 4-week period of time. You and I were talking way too much. Not that I don't want to call you, but in the end, with all these different pieces of the puzzle, even with an expert, there are things that have to be worked out. And if you install it the wrong way to begin with, you're going to pay way more than you ever would have if you would have paid the money to have it installed the right way the first time. This isn't rocket science, but it's something that a lot of people overlook. I know that you've seen this. So when we come back from this break, we're going to talk a little bit with Todd about that install, lithium batteries, different supports, different cables, things that you can end up using thinking that it's the right thing, but end up screwing up $5 grand worth of stuff because you decided to be cheap. It happens all the time. We'll be back in just a minute.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Chevy Silverado and the impressive Turbo Max engine. Flex your muscle with the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Official truck of Outdoor GPS.